Hey y'all, hi, welcome back to my channel. Happy Saturday. I am officially back in Ontario, returned from my holiday, and I've successfully gotten through my first week back to reality. As you can see, I am, well, I don't know if you can actually tell, but I don't usually wear this. I am fresh out of the shower, and today we are going to dig into an actual get ready with me. Not a pretend get ready with me. It is not the middle of the night. It is just after 9 a.m. in the morning. The sun is shining, the skies are blue, the birds are singing, and I am going downtown Toronto today for a very exciting brunch date with the one and only Buffalo Beauty Boy, Ted McKnight, and my beloved soul sister and bestie, Channy. So excited. It's been, excuse me, months and months and months since we've seen Ted. Ted is in Toronto for the weekend. Can't wait to see everybody. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks since I've seen Channy. Miss Channy dearly. So it's going to shape up to be a really lovely day. And then after lunch, I will be actually heading to my hometown for kind of an early, slightly by a day Mother's Day visit with my mom and my sister. So we're just gonna jump right in. Like I said, I'm fresh out of the shower. I am clean everywhere from head to toe. Hair has been washed, but I'm gonna keep my little hair towel on pretty much until I think I'm done like all of my complexion stuff. But maybe my full face of makeup, because I do need to blow dry my bangs, and sometimes I find that if I do that after my makeup, well, maybe I should do them before. I'll make sure that I do my hair before I put my mascara on, because I do find that sometimes if I put my mascara on before I blow dry my bangs, my eyelashes also end up moving in the direction of my bangs, and we don't want that. So the only thing that I need to put on my skin today for kind of final prep is my sunscreen. I am surprisingly still using my Naturium Dew Glow Moisturizer SPF 50. This did come with me on my trip, but I quickly discovered that this was not a sufficient sunscreen for being out on a mountain on the west coast of Canada snowboarding. I burnt my face very, very badly the first day I went snowboarding. Partially because I was not reapplying and I was consistently blowing my nose, so I'm sure like even after the first blowing, I wiped off a significant amount of whatever I had on my face in terms of skincare and sunscreen. But after that day, and you know, I gave my skin a few days to heal properly, I had to actually go out and buy an SPF 50 mineral face sunscreen. So I was living the white cast life, but you know what? It was skin safety first and just making sure that the rest of my trip was enjoyable. And I think also it's just a completely different climate that I absolutely was not used to. It was also significantly warmer out west at that kind of elevation that I was used to. So even though, you know, some of the days were forecasted to be like only 13 degrees Celsius, the difference between 13 degrees Celsius or even like 20 degrees Celsius out there versus here in Ontario was such a drastic difference that I quickly realized that I had not packed in an appropriate way. It was so much warmer, and I guess maybe because you're closer to the sun, and obviously because of that the sun was also stronger. So that was a full learning experience, but hopefully you can tell that like I did not damage my skin too badly. My nose is just constantly red because I am constantly blowing it and like allergic to life. But my skin bounced back pretty quickly from the severity of the burn that I had. And actually I came back with such clear, smooth skin. My skin absolutely just loved the West Coast air. And I think the moment I got back to Ontario and kind of it was exposed to like pollution, it freaked out a little bit, but I think this week I've been coaxing my chin to cooperate. So we've only got a few things that we really need to like kind of cover up today. But otherwise, we're gonna just basically do the usual in terms of makeup today. It's nothing crazy, it's not fancy, you know, it's not like heels and dresses kind of brunch. It's very casual, but I still want to look pretty, and I still want to have that kind of like bright spring look to my skin. So that's kind of the direction we're going in. Now that my sunscreen is on, I'm going to go in with my eyebrows first and just get them out of the way. And like, shocker, you can actually see my eyebrows and forehead this time because of the hair towel. So I am just going to go in, and this is so dirty, with the Revolution soap brow set, and I'm just going to give the soap brow, or the soap thing just a tiny squirt. I don't want to oversaturate it because I find that then it becomes a little bit untenable. It's really difficult to work with if it's too wet, and I'm just really grinding my spoolie into that and then running that through my brows. And I think I kind of mentioned this in the pack with me video, which I'll link wherever it ends up getting linked. I think that the soap brow style, or like more waxy eyebrow gels or I guess pomades, are really the ones that work for the texture and like just the nature of my eyebrows specifically, and kind of what I'm trying to accomplish. I did mention that like I've got this Jason Wu clear eyebrow gel, and it just doesn't give my brows the hold that I need. And I actually find this with like my actual hair. My hair does not respond to hair gels. So if I want, and we'll see that today because I'll style my hair the way that I usually do on camera, and I have to use like a styling kind of waxier style cream. If I try to use like a gel or even sometimes a mousse, my hair just will say and even though I've got like quite naturally wavy hair, and my hair has really sort of like bloomed into that sort of texture, it will absolutely have no business dealing with a gel formula, which is kind of frustrating because, you know, it can be a little bit limiting. It's also nice when you just know what works and you stick to it. And that's really all I'm doing with my eyebrows. When and if I decide to get rid of my bangs, we will reevaluate, but I don't really want any kind of color in them. They desperately need to be waxed again. So I've got, you know, some rogue hairs, but it is what it is. We're kind of dealing that with my armpits today too. I'll be wearing a sleeveless bodysuit, and there's some, you know, armpit hair that we're dealing with, but I think we have reached a point in society where we're being more accepting of, you know, female body hair. So women's body hair. So bring it on. Okay, I'm gonna do kind of a 2-for-1 situation with my concealer. As usual, we're not doing any kind of foundation, although I do have the new Ritual Defy 3-drop foundation liquid coming, just because I couldn't not. It looked so beautiful, and just that is on its way, and I cannot wait. I also have another one of their Color Nectar pigment balms coming. I think it's in the shade Hummingbird, which is more of that like more peachy, which is kind of the tone that I've been craving in my blush again. I realized that so many of my blushes ended up leaning like red and pink, or like that kind of grape tone, and all of a sudden I was missing like kind of my oranges and peaches. So very, very exciting for that to arrive. Anyways, today's concealer, before I get into a million tangents and then, you know, miss the bus to get downtown on time, I've got an hour to like do all of this, get ready and leave. So we have a time limitation here. I'm going to use a mix of my Kosas concealer, and I'm using the shade 6, which I think I mentioned this in my pack with me as well. I love this shade, and I really love the Kosas just shade range in general, because it explicitly states that this is for olive skin tones, this shade. And that's something that I'm constantly missing in concealer ranges. But I'm also, just because I've been tired and like the week back has been intense, we're gonna go for a little bit more of a brightening effect on my under eye. So I've pulled out my REM Beauty concealer, and this is in the shade 3W. It should do the trick. If I need to knock it down because it ends up being too light, that's fine. We will cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, we're just gonna go in to the actual problem spots with my Kosas, and I took this with me on my trip and used it religiously on that trip, and it had been so long since I had used the Kosas concealer, and really just was revisited with all of the wonderful memories of how wonderful this product. It's so good. It is a cult classic for a reason. It rose to that status fast, but it is totally justified. Like there is something so spectacular, so special about this formula. It is perfect. I have zero complaints. And I think that that shade 6, especially now that I've had some sun, is truly a perfect match for me at this stage. It will get a little bit too light for me if I spend a lot of time in the sun this summer, but it also ends up being totally workable still, so I'm not fussed about that. But it knocks down my redness, it covers up the blemishes. Again, I'm not looking for a like full coverage concealer type thing. I still want my natural skin and my natural texture to shine through. All I'm trying to do is kind of like even out the skin tone and disguise the blemishes when and if I have them. And I think it just really, really accomplishes that in such a natural way. Like it doesn't feel heavy on the skin. It doesn't look out of place, even when it is just a concealer on a bare face. I know there are some concealers that are like so high coverage that if you put them on a bare face without the foundation, you can definitely like see those spots even after it's been blended. But this one just blends so beautifully. Just melts right into the skin. So I can't say enough about the Kosas concealer, and I'm so glad that it's back in my life. It was long overdue for this to return to me. Okay, now for the under eyes, and I'm just putting my finger right into the pot, and I'm gonna do 3 dots, which might actually be too much, but this really is such a beautiful formula, and I should keep it out more consistently on my vanity here because it is really such a delight to use. And I'm actually going with a different approach today in terms of blending, and I've got a wet little beauty sponge here, which I never use, but I thought that it was worth a try, especially because I do want to maintain the hydration under my eyes. So I thought that it would be worth a go, and I think blended out nicely, and there is, you know, a good little highlight there. I think I'm gonna go with just a tiny bit more in here because that seems to be where, and like I have, rather than having super puffy under eyes, I've got the more like kind of sunken effect. And if you also struggle with that, Amanda Z actually has a really great video on her channel about kind of like how to best conceal for that specific issue. And again, it's like we're not trying to like completely erase our face. We are just trying to sort of neutralize the skin tone. We're not trying to disappear these features. Certainly there are, you know, makeup artists who will teach you how to do that specifically, but in the makeup realm and the beauty realm that I live in, it's so much about like celebrating just my natural face and, you know, the kind of natural beauty and accentuating all of our natural features and not giving into a beauty standard that none of us actually subscribe to. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with that as the base. Again, I didn't perfectly erase my like dark circles. I didn't perfectly erase my blemishes, but I just feel like we're sort of neutralized, and I feel human. And now we're gonna add some color back in. And I don't think it's gonna be too hot today. It's like gonna be around 21, 22. In the city, it might feel a little bit warmer, but I naturally run cold and I'm not really a sweater. So I don't think that I need to personally worry about having cream products melt off my face. So I'm gonna go in with a combo, I think, of cream and powder, but I really wanna use and show you this on camera. This is the 1999, what is this called? The Cream Contour Stick in the shade Tea. And this is so lovely. I also brought this with me. I'll do a little swatchy swatch there. Just a gorgeous color. I showed this again in my pack with me, brought this with me on my trip, used it frequently. It's so nice. I don't think I realized how much I was actually missing like a stick bronzer formula in my life, because it's so nice and it's so easy, and that's kind of the placement that we're working with today. I love the shade Tea. I think it works well for my skin tone. Breaking out my little e.l.f. bronzer brush here, the one that Samantha Robindahl also really loves and like tragically is no longer available anywhere, and just blending that in up along my Forehead, again, why did I put it on my forehead? Who knows? Because, again, bangs, but we're keeping it there regardless. And I just think that this blends out beautifully. It's so easy, it's not patchy, and that shade T, I think, just sits really naturally on my skin. It feels native to my skin tone. Yeah, I've really been enjoying it. And I don't feel like it's too overpowering, like it just provides me that very natural sun-kissed effect. And then just blending out the tip of my nose. And that is the bronzer. Perfect. Now I am gonna go in with my little concealer brush again and just kind of tap at the very tippy of my nose, just because I don't want the bronzer all over my Italian ball. I'm also gonna take a sip of coffee. Now I'm gonna go in with a little bit of powder, and then I'm gonna do something very basic for eyeshadow. We're not gonna go over the top, but I just wanna use my little Kosas Cloud Set. I can't get over how stinking cute this is. I'm obsessed, even just with the size. Is the powder doing anything miraculous for me? It's great, it's lovely, I have no complaints. Okay, period hands. But the size is just so precious. I love it. And I'm using the shade Comfy, just with this teeny tiny little fluffy brush here, and I'm just patting it very gently under my eyes. I don't know if you can see the effect, but I think it's just, it does what everyone says it does. It's loved, again, for a reason. Kosas is just doing the damn thing and doing it well. Just a little bit between my eyebrows there and a little bit on my chin. Now, my skin really does a 180 in the spring and summertime in terms of like going from kind of normal combination. In the spring and summer, it does tend to kind of go straight to oily. So I will have all of my natural oils seep through this powder within a few hours, but I don't mind. Listen, for as long as my skin decides to be bouncy and oily and producing all of those gorgeous natural oils and making me look youthful, bring it on. We're not gonna complain about that anymore. And it's so easy to just blot any of the excess away, even with just a Kleenex, and not disrupt your makeup too much. So, you know, these are things that we're just fully shaking off in our 30s. We are relinquishing the pressures and the self-conscious doubts that haunted us in our youths. Also, that we were like very much told to be ashamed of. I think I've talked about this before, but I'm pretty sure y'all remember in like our high school years, if you were also in your 30s, so like in the early to mid 2000s, if you had oily skin, the moisturizers that were being marketed to you were oil-free and like very drying. It did the exact opposite of what our young, delicate skin actually needed. So, you know, now in my 30s and even in my mid to late 20s, I was doing as much hydrating for my skin as possible to really be like, I love you and you don't need to work overtime. You will have to do that eventually because, you know, menopause. What a terrifying thought. Not ready for that yet. But anyways, I'm gonna just use my Anika bronzer for eyeshadow. Not because I want to do anything crazy on the eyes. I just want to have some kind of color. And I think that's really all we're gonna do, like Alanna Davison style, just swirling a nice fluffy brush into the powder bronzer and literally washing that all over the lid and blowing that out just a little bit into the corner there. And it's just gonna feel really natural and sun-kissed, and that's exactly what I'm going for today. I'm not gonna do any kind of eyeliner. I just want to feel enhanced. And again, I really like this shade in the bronzer. It's called Sunbeam. I have no idea if they even make this anymore. I don't think they do. And if they do, it's no longer in this black packaging. This is something that I bought, I don't know, I've had it for years now. It was an in-person purchase at kind of like, I think at like a Noah's Natural Foods when I was still living in Toronto. I'm gonna go in with a slightly smaller brush to do my like my lower lash line, because I would like a little bit of color there too. So this is just an Eco Tools accent shadow brush. I love it. This little Eco Tools set that I bought a few months ago was honestly the best decision I made. But now I've got all of these other brushes that I just don't really use. And like, what does one do with brushes that they don't use or want anymore? Like, is there some kind of like upcycling program for that? There should be, because it seems like an absolute waste. What do you do otherwise? You just throw them away? That feels wrong. Anyways, that is literally all I'm gonna do. Well, actually, I might do one teeny tiny other little thing. So I think I mentioned this again in my pack with me, but I also, when I bought the $19.99 bronzer stick, I also bought a highlighter stick, which is like not like me at all, because we know that I don't use highlighter. But the shade is called Miel, which is essentially honey. It's beautiful. It like really blends into my skin. So it's kind of that like golden, slightly more honey leaning champagne shade. But I really was attracted to it because I was like, well, this would be actually a perfect eye product. So what I'm going to do is just dab a teeny tiny bit onto the center of my lid, just for a little bit of highlight there. A little tiny bit of that like shimmer, the glow. And now that's it. And then other than, you know, mascara, but I think we've come to a place with my face that I'm now going to take the hair towel out and blow dry my bangs and just put in my styling product, which I realize is still in the bathroom. Okay, I have returned, and I'm now realizing that, again, I rarely film during the day, but you can now see that there is in fact a window behind my backdrop here, and it is causing an interesting effect because the light is coming through. So I don't love that, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. I'm not gonna complain about the daylight and sunshine after the winter we had. Okay, so I am back. I have my styling product, which is the InnerSense Inner Peace Whipped Cream Texturizer. This stuff is my best friend. I have purchased this time and time again. Every time I kind of diverge and try a different product, I am extremely, supremely disappointed, and I return to this. It is just the best. There's so much product in here. It lasts me so long. Does it actually say how many milliliters or grams? I'm not sure, but it is like one of those products that is legitimately ends up being filled to the brim. Bring it back here so you can kind of see. I've used a significant amount, and also, as I mentioned again in my bag with me, I'm sorry that I keep bringing that up, I scooped out a whole bunch to put in kind of like a mini container so that I could take some with me. But if you have fine, very fussy hair that is also a little bit wavy or curly and doesn't like other styling products, give this a try. It's so lovely, and I will be sure to link it down in the description box below so that you can check it out. And it's actually at a really affordable price point, especially for the amount of product, how much you need to use, and just how long it lasts. Okay, time to take this out. Now, in terms of hair care, I have completely stopped brushing my hair after the shower. I now only do a dry brush before I wash it, and unless it's like super tangly and unmanageable during, like after my wash days, I do not brush it, and I'm not brushing it wet anymore. And I have found that that has created a huge improvement in the way my hair starts to wave and will style, and like my hair does naturally want to go into like little soft curls or waves, and that's just, you know, the nature of my hair as I get older. I can't explain it. When I was younger, my hair was pin straight. It would go through phases of, you know, being a little bit curlier, but on average, all I ever wanted when I was younger was like to have curly hair like my mom and my sister. And you know, the universe seems to have delivered on that request. But the only hair that I'm brushing on my head while it's wet, and it's barely wet, it's kind of just damp, are my bangs, and that's it. And so because I have a pretty severe cowlick on my right side, I don't know if anybody cares about this, so like just fast forward if you don't. I have a pretty severe cowlick on my right side, which means that for the most part, the hair actually cooperates in terms of bangs on this side because it gets that like nice natural bounce. But it means that I have to do extra work to keep the same kind of level of bounce and keep the hair at like the same level of length on the left side. So I always, unless I'm like literally in a pinch, and then I literally have to pinch up this side as it's drying, I always blow dry my bangs. So we're gonna just fast forward through this because no one wants to hear blow dryer. Okay, and that is pretty much all I do in terms of any kind of heat styling on my hair. I don't want to like over dry them, just because I am conscious that like the fact that I keep putting heat on that part of my hair and I'm starting to get grays in there, you know, I don't want to risk any kind of damage either. So even if they don't end up perfect, it's fine. I'm not going for perfection. I always prefer a messier hairstyle to begin with. Now I'm gonna take out my little clippies here, shake out the hair, and then I'm gonna go in with my texturizer. And I pretty much take like that much, rub it between my hands, and then we're gonna go sort of run my fingers through on one side and then scrunch. Scrunch, scrunch, scrunch. And I don't know what the magic is behind this specific cream texturizer, but my hair just responds really, really well to it. And also, it just smells like orange creamsicles. It's so delightful. And I'm gonna take the same amount and do the right side, which is actually my problem side. It does not like to cooperate as well for whatever reason, and the top layer really doesn't like to cooperate as well. It never curls as much as the undersides do. And then I'm gonna flip. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm gonna do kind of like an upside down scrunching as well. And that is essentially, see, like even this little section here is going to be really difficult and not do what I want, but I think I'm going to end up clipping the fronts back anyways, so it doesn't matter. Again, not going for perfection, just trying to encourage my hair to live in its truth and its power and its natural texture, and also to like help kind of encourage some of those face framing waves. I always tuck it behind my ears, and because my ears that will like force it into kind of its own little wave. And I probably actually left my hair in the hair towel a little bit too long, which is why some of the hair is being less than cooperative. It's not quite wet enough, but it is what it is. I'm not running low on time. I'm actually doing okay, but I'm realizing that we have been here for a while together. And I would like to add other things to this video, so we're gonna try to wrap it up soon in terms of the makeup. As I was saying at the beginning, I want kind of like a bright and fresh sort of spring vibe with my makeup today, so I have finally decided to break out the second RMS blush that I have been hoarding. And this is the Redimension Hydra Powder Blush. This is the companion to the Pomegranate Fizz that I have been using quite frequently and that I love so dearly. I bought them at the exact same time months and months and months and months and months ago, but I have just been hiding this one away in my collection because I just didn't want to open it. But it is that shade that I have been craving. This is the shade Mai Tai, and it's that like gorgeous kind of like tangerine, almost like mango, ripe mango, not raw mango shade. And it's so pretty. I've used it I think once and that was like probably when I first bought it. But we're gonna take that and just excuse me, dibby dab it onto my cheeks there, just for that bright flush of color. It actually sits really naturally on my skin. It's a very, very complimentary tone, I think. And it's hard to tell because in the pan it looks like it might go like kind of highlighter orange on me, especially because at least in the camera here and with the light, it's picking up on those like gorgeous gold reflex that are one of the things that make these blushes so stunning, is that kind of reflective quality. But the actual underlaying, like the base shade in this, is so pretty. And again, why I don't use a highlighter, like just the natural glow of this blush is so lovely. And I'm just gonna flip my mirror here to kind of the zoomed in one. And I think that's really pretty. I might end up doing just a touch more, but for now, I'm satisfied with that. And now we're just gonna do my mascara, but I think I'm going to just do that without it being on camera. And then we'll pop back here and then we'll go get dressed. And at that point, once I'm dressed, I think I will decide what I would like on my lips. I'm thinking that I'm just gonna go very natural with a gloss. I did pull out Prec Soft Blur Lipstick in Makeout Club, which is a gorgeous kind of like bricky orangey red, but I just don't know if I want that much color on my lips, especially if I'm gonna be eating. So it might just be a nice gloss today, which I think will just add to the overall freshness, and then it's very easy to apply. Okay. Mascara is done. Again, I am using the Essence Get Big Lashes Volume Boost. It is the waterproof version. It is now spring and summer, so I can slowly start to migrate away from waterproof mascaras unless I'm going swimming or something and, you know, want to have that extra hold. But I'm actually excited to start using and trying some other mascaras, but this one has been a mainstay throughout the winter. And I really love it. I love the effect, and it's just really nice on the wallet as well. So now that the mascara is done, I feel like my makeup is in a really good place, and it is time for me to go and get dressed. So I'm not going to take you with me into my bedroom, but I will come back here and kind of show you the outfit, throw on my perfume. I'm not going to do anything too much more in terms of accessories. I'm keeping these little earrings on. I switched these before my trip just so that I could keep a set of earrings in but wouldn't be afraid of like losing them if I was snowboarding, and like didn't have to take them out while I was sleeping. So at some point in the coming weeks, I will transition back to my lovely big gold tubes because I am missing them. But for today, we're just keeping it really simple and delicate. And same with my necklaces. I've got my little gold choker here from Blue Boho, and then just this other little necklace with a little best friend's half of a heart that I've had since like kindergarten. And then just my usual gold bracelet situation. And I've also got that I've been wearing recently is just one of my other gold necklaces that I've just kind of triple wrapped around my wrist. But too much talking. I'm gonna go get changed. I'll come back. I'll kind of show it to you. It's gonna be very, very simple, chic, also very comfy, because I do have to then go to my mom's and there's a dog there. So, you know, we want something that is multifunctional, but also just really adorable for lunch, and something that will be kind of climate appropriate. And I will have a layering piece should it end up warm enough for me to take off the first layer. So BRB. I have returned with my outfit. We gotta do my hair too. But essentially this is the fit. We're not doing like a full body because I can't, but I might show you like a mirror view later. So this is a gorgeous little bodysuit with a ruffled strap here from Aritzia, I think now like 2 summers ago. And then just these wide leg high-waisted denim, no front pockets, really nice big flat pockets in the bum. These are from Everlane several years ago. They were like one of the limited edition denim releases. Love them. Just a vintage black belt. It was actually my mom's from the 80s. And then in case I get chilly, I have just got this little semi-poofed sleeve cardigan, also from Aritzia, cropped, so we're keeping the same silhouette. It's got a nice tapered wrist here. It's very, very soft. Has the teeniest, tiniest little poofed sleeve, which I love, and nice big buttons. They're actually not black. They're kind of like a gunmetal gray with a little bit of a pearlescence to them. So just a nice little detail. And then in terms of footwear, because I'm going to be in Toronto, probably walking around again, we'll be at my mom's later. We're just going with platform, sort of off-white now, Converse. So just very cute and casual, and something that's going to be really comfy to wear. Today is not the day to break in a new pair of shoes. Now, the finishing touches, my 7 Virtues Vanilla Woods. Still working on this rollerball. So just going behind the ears, down the neck, going right at the base of the throat. I do like to do a little line across my collarbone, and then just a line up between the girls. Sometimes I do it on my wrist, but today we're just gonna go with the core. And you know, as my body warms up, hopefully that lovely fragrance will just sort of surface and greet my friends without being too overpowering. Now, the final touches for my hair. It is still drying. My hair takes the most amount of time to dry, but I've got this really adorable little acrylic bow clip. It's the kind of clip that I really like. I don't know what the actual name for this style clip is, but it's the one where you like press the little buttons and it pops out. So it's not like an alligator clip. And we're gonna go in, I think, with a bow moment. I know that I'd mentioned previously or earlier that I was gonna just pull the fronts back, which is super cute, is a look that I do, but I feel like I don't want to have the potential of like carrying around 2 clips today. So we're just gonna go for a full pull back of the entire front section, like very casual and loose. Again, not going for perfection. I'm gonna go in with that clip because I love a bow moment. I have a wedding coming up in a few weeks, and I'm excited for that outfit because there's also going to be a really cute bow moment and or something completely different. I picked up some really cute hair accessories from Claire's because of course I did. There's the eternal deal, buy 3 get 3 free when you go into a Claire's, and like, as a shopper who has a slight problem with shopping and self-control, you cannot walk into a Claire's and not immediately jump on that kind of deal. But yeah, I think that's fine. And as you can see, well, I don't know if you can see because my hair is so dark and there's not enough contrast here, but she is starting to curl aggressively. It's usually just on the front. Obviously I can't see the back, and I tend to pay less attention to like continuing to scrunch the back, but this is it. That's basically the hair vibe. It's very simple, very natural. Again, I'm not like, there's a lot of no muss, no fuss vibes going on here. Now, one thing I forgot to mention was that as I got out of the shower today, because I knew that I was, you know, gonna be outside, it was gonna be sunny, rather than putting on my regular day moisturizer on my upper body, I used this new K-Skin Sun Care Protection. So this is the Isle Glow Body Lotion in SPF 45, and it's really lovely. My skin feels hydrated, and now I just feel like I've got an additional layer of protection. But because I was wearing my robe, I am just gonna throw a little bit more on. So I just put 3 pumps into my hand there, and we're just gonna go back over the shoulder areas and down the arms. And also it does truly add like an absolutely stunning glow to the skin. It has a very, I would say, a lighter than normal sunscreen scent, but that's not something that bothers me perfectly, especially in the summertime, because it just feels nostalgic and like, you know, I'm a millennial. I live and breathe nostalgia, so totally happy with that. Now, the K-Skin has a reasonably high price point. It's definitely like a luxury sunscreen product, but it's for special days. It's not like going to be my everyday outside sunscreen. Like if I'm going out for a bike ride or a walk, I'm not going to be throwing that on, but I've got, you know, something social happening today, so it felt like an appropriate occasion for that. And I'm just gonna add a little bit more on my chest here. I'm really passionate about sun care and like sun safety. I want to stay looking young. I don't want, you know, the big skin C. So we just gotta do what we can. And when you have beautiful products at your disposal, like look at that glow. Oh, it just, yes. And that reminds me, for my lips, of course it wasn't here on my table because it was already in my purse ready for the day. This is also from K-Skin, and it is the Isle Lip Balm in SPF 30. Beautiful. I really like the sleekness and like the brownness of the packaging. It's just very cute. And this, similar to a lot of my other kind of current lip products, has the little like angled squeezy at the top, but this one is actually really, really soft silicone, which I thought was lovely. The Solera Skincare Lip Balm, I don't know where that is currently. That's the one I brought with me on my trip. Had a very similar delivery system, but this part, the one that like went against your lips, was just plastic. So, oh, here it is. It's just slightly less pleasant to use. Like, it's clear plastic, has a very similar look, but you can already see that like, just even in like that like cloudiness, that's a soft silicone. So it just is a nicer application. And the difference between these two in terms of like a lip care, sun care product, the Solera is a mineral sunscreen lip gloss, worked wonderfully, and you know, did the job for like being out in the sun in the mountains. Is very much like a daily summer sun lip product. But this one is too. Obviously this is not a mineral sunscreen, this is chemical, but the glow, the gloss, it also does not smell like sunscreen, but it's got that delicious like island summer coconutty vanilla fragrance. That is delightful. It feels so good on the lips. It smells so good. It doesn't have a taste. Sometimes when you get that like really potent fragrance in a lip balm, there's also a corresponding flavor to it, but this one doesn't have that. So obviously it is a chemical sunscreen, so like just keep that in mind for a lip product as you're going throughout the day and you're licking your lips that will be ingested. So just something to be mindful of. But I think that's super, super pretty. And that's all that I'm going to use on my lips today. Again, I want to make sure that my lips are protected. It does end up being the thing that like falls to the wayside when we think about sun care. So I do love seeing the fact that like more sun care brands are coming out with lip specific products, because it is so important, and you don't want your mouth to be burned. It doesn't feel good. You want to look good. You want them to look good and juicy. And I think this totally accomplishes that. And I like the natural pigment of my lips. So this is just a perfect top off for the overall look. Love it. Okay, I am going to spend my remaining 15 minutes heating up my coffee, enjoying that, taking a sip, breathing in the delicious fresh air. Some of my neighbors are mowing their lawns. The air smells wonderful as the breeze is coming in through my window. I'm just gonna relish in that before I actually have to get into my car and sit in my car for an hour and a half. But then I will be reunited with my loves, and I cannot wait. And I will try and get a few little video clips or photos that I can insert here at the end of this video, just so that you can see all of our happy smiling faces as well. If I don't manage to do that, even if I do manage to do that, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please be sure to give me a big thumbs up down below. It actually really helps. And I love to see that you're engaging with my content and enjoying it. And if you're new here and you made it all the way through this video, welcome. I would love for you to become part of the Land Fam. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And otherwise, I will see you in the next one for another sim video. Okay, bye.